The sister fort of the Brown Caterthun. The White Caterthun was an ancient 2,000-year-old fortress situated near the city of Brecon in Angus, Scotland. In this game you will be able to explore the White Caterthun as it may have looked like at its peak, as well as interact with certain objects in the environment to acquire further insight into the life of the Pictish people. The White Caterthun structure, namely the palisade walls of the earthenworks, will require a substantial amount of lumber, and so the forest resigned to the east of the fortress was cultivated throughout its lifetime to keep a level of sustainability for maintaining its defences. This extruded section of the fort was the annex, and presumably was used as another point of defence regarding the main gate. The defenders would be able to throw spears and rocks down from its flanking position with relative safety. The most common shield used by Pictish warriors, featuring a unique square design, uncommon for the time period, made of wood, iron and leather. Markings and patterns would commonly be painted onto the front of the shield. The earlier outer rampart, which may have been the first of the earthenworks made at the site, ran round the outside of the stone fort, and would have been made of compacted earth and stone that was pushed up against wooden palisade walls. This would be the first line of defence against hostile invaders, and would be used to protect the small village that resides within its walls. The White Caterthun features multiple entrances situated in places that may have aligned to geographical features that no longer exist, and so their use outside of being another entrance has been lost to time. The people who built the enclosures were sophisticated and creative, living in substantial wooden houses, farming cereal crops and rearing cows, sheep and pigs. When not in a protracted siege, the defenders and their families would live in relative safety behind the earthenworks, and would carry on day-to-day functions of living in an Iron Age society. Small tight-knit families would often share a single dwelling consisting of multiple generations living under the same roof. The majority of these buildings were comprised of a wooden or stone base and wall, and a thatch roof kept up with wooden beams. Although cramped, it functioned as a way to retain heat throughout the colder months, while allowing families to function normally during these periods within the abode. Tankards were traditionally made from wood, clay, or from the horn of an animal, and would be used to hold beverages such as water or alcohol. Bannocks were a variety of large flat bread made from flour of barley or oats. Normally cooked in either a kiln or in a griddle over an open flame, it was a staple of the Pictish diet. Cutlery made from simple iron normally twisted into a unique shape would serve as the main eating utensils for the Pictish people. Cutlery made from simple iron normally twisted into a unique shape would serve as the main eating utensils for the Pictish people. Bowls and plates were traditionally made of carved wood or clay and would be used for serving dishes or for display purposes. Coinage in the Pictish kingdoms was a useful trading commodity that was openly bartered between them and foreign powers. Many of the coins that were used originated from old Roman trade or from the minting of new currency by the Northumbrians. This larger structure would function as both a communal house and a structure to allow for meetings of the village. Like its smaller brethren, it too is built using a base of stone or wood and a thatched roof which is held up by wooden beams running along the length of the abode. This is the communal bedroom of the large abode. It would be shared by those without significant families in the fort, or those who were visiting, such as traders or dignitaries. Although cramped, it did allow for a degree of heat sharing, keeping those that reside within warm during the colder months. The spear was a standard in the arsenal of the Pictish warrior, being used as both a weapon to deter cavalry and infantry charges. It could also be used as a javelin and thrown at an advancing foe at range. Kilns came in many shapes and sizes in the Iron Age world, but would retain similar functions, as a way to cook both foods such as breads and to harden clay objects like bowls and cups. Picts were known for carving and incising stones with symbols or designs that depict events, mythical monsters, or ideograms. Although we have a limited knowledge in their meaning, there are stones such as this that have survived to modern times. Coppicing is a traditional method of woodland management which exploits the capacity of many species of trees to put out new shoots from their stumps or roots if cut down. The new shoots would then be cut and collected to be used in wattle fencing, where the shoots would be woven into a lattice pattern and used as both a construction material for walls or used as fences. The cut-mark stone, as it has been called, predates the fortress itself, and has been speculated to have been around during the Bronze Age. Its purpose is unknown, however some speculate that it may have been created as either a part of religious customs or as a naturalistic art piece. The White Caterthun is dominated by a huge oblong fort inside its earthenwork walls. The structure is further encased by a set of palisade walls and ditches that run round the outside with stone walls. The walls themselves are thought to have been built after the earthenworks by the Picts or their progenitors in the first few centuries AD. As for its makeup, the walls are made of stone slabs that would be packed with dirt and deliberately burnt and vitrified, which is a process of fusing burnt stone together. This would make it incredibly difficult to tear down the stone walls. The slabs themselves would come from the surrounding countryside as well as nearby quarries that would have been taken up by animal cart to the fortress. For the inhabitants of the White Caterthun, this was their main source of water, and so resides within the stone walls of the inner fortress. Should a protracted siege occur, the defenders would at least have a source of fresh water to sustain them.